What is up, everyone? What is going on, man? It's the weekend after a payday Friday, a little vacation sellback included in the paycheck. Looking like a great weekend, if you ask me. Amazing college football games today. UFC pay-per-view tonight is going to be a banger. NFL tomorrow starting at 9 a.m. as Miami and the Redskins are over, or the Commanders, excuse me, are over in Spain. I'm excited. But you're not going to believe what just hit my screen. That's right. Something major is going on behind the curtain. And I'm going to tell you right now, 99.9% of people, they don't see it. The public is not going to catch on before it's too late. We're talking the XRP supply on exchanges. It is quickly evaporating. The timing is lining up too perfectly. And the players involved, it's not retail. They're the ones who move global money. Look, this feels like that weird noise you hear before like an earthquake hits, right? Like the pressure is building and you can't see it yet, but you can sure is all you know what, feel it in your chest. And here's the craziest part about this. The clues are all over the place if you know where to look. ISO 20022 money rails flipping over. Boutique ETF issuers are outperforming giants, and Trump is basically telegraphing the next macro catalyst, a $20 trillion injection queued up. The CME gap, it's hanging over everything like a loaded string. When you put all that together and the XRP supply drops suddenly, looks like less like a coincidence and more like a signal. We're going to break it all down. And you're going to know exactly what's going on before this window closes. As always, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. It supports the channel and it's free. If you're not subscribed, now's the time to do it. Bitcoin coming in at $96,267. It's pretty much flat on the 24-hour chart. So is ETH. It's coming out at 3,180, and XRP's down about almost 2%, coming in at $2.25. Total cryptocurrency market cap, it's up 0.68%, coming in at 3.25 trillion as your fear and greed index. It is extreme fear out there. We're going to kick off this video, and I'm sure you've seen it. This is President Trump coming in from Bitcoin Nashville. We're going to listen to this because it sets the tone and it sets for where we are taking this next. Listen up.
Today, and Bitcoin and crypto will skyrocket like never before, even beyond your expectations, and you are the people that are doing it. As we stop the war on crypto, we will immediately, and we'll do this very quickly, begin to build our economy, because when America is prospering, Bitcoin is soaring, and it'll go up with it. We had the greatest economy ever, and we will soon have it again. Under the Trump administration, the typical middle-class family income rose by $6,000 a year. People don't like mentioning that. America had more money to save than at any time in many decades. As a result, during my 4 years in office, now you have to listen to these numbers. These numbers are like beautiful. And I don't want to repeat myself. Listen to these numbers. As a result, during my 4 years in office, Bitcoin surged by 3,900%, from $898 the day I took office to $35,900 the day I left. That was the biggest jump, I guess, in just about any industry. Think of that. Now compare that to just after 3.5 years of Biden and Harris, adjusted for inflation, Bitcoin is up 50%. Now, 50% sounds good, but not when you're comparing it to almost 4,000%, right? 50%, normally.
And look, I've been saying everything is going to happen under President Trump. When his term in office is up, he wants to make sure that the stock market is at an all-time high, that crypto markets have absolutely exploded, and that the U.S. is in the lead for the crypto race, and that the real estate market is absolutely booming. Everything happens under him. We got about 3 more years left, and Smoke puts this out, and this is the foundation behind the supply vanishing. Everyone loves to talk tech, transaction per second, consensus, throughput. But none of that matters in payment unless one thing is locked in, and that's trust. Banks don't move trillions because something is fast. They don't care about that. They move trillions because something is trusted, standardized, and woven directly into the existing rails. And this is where XRP steps onto the stage with a completely unfair advantage. XRP isn't just advanced, it is also ISO compliant, which is your exact messaging language banks already use to move money across borders, to settle trades, and to sync data with the regulators. That's not a market labeling, that is actual infrastructure. The quote that always sticks with me is this: technical performance alone does not create infrastructural authority. Trust is the foundation of functioning payment networks. Let that sink in for a second. And XRP happens to be the only major asset sitting in a sweet spot regulators want. Fast, auditable, standardized, and ready to plug into existing systems without ripping out the old infrastructure. Banks trust Ripple. Ripple trusts the XRP ledger. And now regulators trust ISO 20022. That's your triangle. And as this migration accelerates, which it already is, the demand shift towards assets that can survive inside the regulatory walls. Bitcoin is not built for that. Ethereum isn't built for that. Most altcoins aren't even close. XRP is literally positioned as the compliant liquidity layer. So when you see supply quietly draining from exchanges, it's not random. It's not hype. It is preparation. Now let's talk price. Because your chart on XRP, it's telling a completely different story than the sentiment. I get it. Every time XRP does this slow, frustrating grind lower, it is followed by an aggressive reversal that nobody expects. And right now, the reversal level is staring us right in the face. Here's an article posted over on xrprightnow.com. It should be your only Ripple and XRP news source. It's all we cover over here. Okay. So you can see from the article, it goes through the dip, your support, your resistance. So what we're looking at right now, just as there's a major support zone. It's clean, it's untouched, and historically, it is powerful. This is where whales load up instead of chasing. It's the springboard zone. Every cycle has one. Every crypto has one. What makes it even more interesting is that the supply drop we just talked about, it's happening right as price hits key support. That's not retail selling, everyone. If you think retail is selling, you're out of your mind. It's not. This is the exact setup you see before a candle prints to wipe out weeks of downward moment in a single day. If you zoom out, it looks like nothing. If you zoom in, it looks like a heartbeat right before liftoff. The technicals are fine. The fundamentals, they're absolutely insane. And the supply is thinning. That's not bearish. That is pressure building. Now, when we actually talk about this supply and we come over to Grok and like, yo, Grok, and go to any of your AI agents and ask it, how much XRP supply is actually out there? Because people get confused. They come over to CoinMarketCap, Live Coin Watch, whatever you're using, and they look at this total supply number. Your total supply is not the actual circulating supply. This is what's circulating. So there's 60 billion XRP that are circulating. But that number doesn't tell us the true story. The number that we care about is how much exchange is actually out there on the exchanges. Because you have to figure, when we look at circulating, that takes in my wallet, your wallet, but we all know we're not selling XRP here. So is that XRP really circulating if we have it locked up in our wallet? The answer is no. What is circulating is what is out there, what people are willing to sell, what is on the exchange. So when we ask Grok to look at how much is actually out there, that's what we want to know. And you can see it right here. As of mid-November, so right now, when we look at the reserves across major exchanges, which is tracked by platforms like Crypto Quant, you can go look it up, we're only estimated to be in the range of 3 to 3.5 billion. So roughly about 5 to 6% of XRP circulating supply is actually circulating. Let that number sink in. Binance, they hold about 2.7 billion. They're actually down from 2.78 currently from 2.79. It states that overall exchange reserves have been declining sharply through 2025, with notable drops of 140 to 149 million in single 24-hour periods. And earlier this month, we showed you in a video yesterday, if you didn't watch it, how Coinbase is running out of a lot of XRP that they have available on their order books. Now, your over the counter, when these ETFs start to launch, it's going to get chewed up as well. So when people have to start coming to these public order books to buy XRP, that is exactly where you see your supply shock kick in. That is where you see this thing rip like no other. That is where you see a repricing event happen on this. So your 60 billion that you see in circulating supply, that isn't a true number. You need to look at what is actually being held by these exchanges, folks. Because once people need to start using the exchange to buy their XRP, that is where this gets interesting. Just take a step back. Forget the price right now. Let's worry about the price at the end of the year. Let's see where we're at. At the end of Q1, let's see where we're at. We know this isn't done. We know everything happens under Trump, so it all happens within the next 3 years. Are we going to see price movement before that? Of course. We're going to see markets absolutely rip. The days of these 4-year cycles, they're over. Once these ETFs came to the market, your 4-year cycle ended. And I will be covering that in the next video, which is coming out at 3:30 this afternoon. Make sure you give it a watch, give it a like, and I'll see all y'all on the next one.